Welcome back to Angels and Bob's Factorio, and it's time to make ourselves some upgrades to be able to walk faster. Before I get to that though, and just before we start the episode, I did see a new game announcement called Satisfactory, spelt the same way that you might expect from the normal word, but it's a pun. Satisfactory. Yes. Factory. It is looking a lot like 3D Factorio, i.e. first person or third person sort of behind the shoulder kind of thing, but making essentially machines like this. So I'm very, very interested in it. So do look it up on the Steam page and on its own website. It should be simple enough to find. And if you like this kind of game and are interested in the 3D version, do follow it. It may be horrible, it may be great. Don't know yet. It's gonna be entering alpha in a month or two, I imagine. So yeah, I will mention it on the channel as and when I get as and when I get access to it, really. If you're the developer of Satisfactory and you happen to be watching this video for some insane reason, feel free to send me a key and I will happily put it on the channel when I actually take a look at it. Can't promise that I'll think it's any good, but that's something else entirely. So let's get started with this episode and get those upgrades sorted. So I already crafted a set of exoskeleton legs. They are pretty good, but we're going to need a container for them. This one is our current one. I've taken everything out of it, but it's the modular armor. Well, we're not going to stay with modular armor. No, we're going to make power armor. And that should be able to be made already. Yes, power armor, or the Mark 1 version. So this has more space for stuff. 7x7 grid size. We got the inventory size bonus. Let's start production of it. There we go. In fact, hang on. We don't need any of that. Can we not just use this one? I guess we should be able to. All my inventory size just disappeared, but that should be faster. Yeah, now it's making it directly. Okay, and hopefully that will pop straight into the slot. And we should get some inventory size back. Let me just move away from the noisy machinery while that happens. And yeah, let's take a look. So 3/4 done. What's the need for Power Armor Mark II? That's Mark II, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Well, we've got that. We've got this. We've got that. Have we got the effectivity and speed module 3s? That's a good question. Do I? And in fact, that may need some research. Yes, it needs Power Armor 2 research. Power. And the main reason for going for this is of course just the speed upgrade. Oh yeah, it's all the research that we actually need for the Power Armor Mark II. It's the gold one I think we're missing. I think high-tech science pack. Yeah, I think it's that one. But in any case, we'll fix that later. Where was I going? I was going over to our area that we set up last episode up here. So I just want to pick up some more. I've not got long reach on. I'm going to pick up some more electronic logic boards because we're going to make more stuff with that. And are you finished now? You are finished. Good. So let's go over here. Lots of space. So we can take these batteries and put them back in. Let's first of all put the solar panels back in. I'm stood on a belt somewhere. It's moving me sideways. Solar panels. These solar panels? No, I can never see them when I'm looking for them directly. Let's go over this way. Portable solar panels. Ah, there they are. Good. So, put all those in. We have room for a complete row. Now we can put these batteries in, and that will store a fair amount of power. However, we can upgrade the batteries as well, I think. Do we have the next upgrade? Battery... is it the Mark II? Or does that need researching as well? Battery equipment 3? No. Battery equipment Mark II. We actually have all of this. Let's just set that to going. Shouldn't take it very long. And in the meantime, I can go and make sure I pick up some more of these. They're going to be really quite handy. And we can add them to a belt, I suppose, at some point. But at the moment, this is being made quite happily by our manufacturing facility. So that's all well and good. And let's skip forward until that's done. In the meantime, however, let's just put all these in. We can always reclaim them and pop them like that. And then we have room for our exoskeleton. Or rather, we have room for more than one exoskeleton. But let's have a look at this. This requires 200 kilowatts. Each of these output 10. So it's a quarter of the power requirements for an exoskeleton. So yeah, if you're standing around, if you're only moving a quarter of the time, you'll be fine. Otherwise, you will deplete the batteries. And we're at night time at the moment, so these batteries aren't building up anyway. So when I put this in, it's probably not going to cause me to speed up. No, but it will once this has actually started to accrue power. Now, that's not the only the way to get power. There are other means. And the portable fusion reactor is the first one. Interestingly, that just needs 250 electronic logic boards. Okay. And that outputs 750 kilowatts, so more than enough for 2 of those exoskeleton legs, which will let us run around a lot faster. They consume 4x4 in our armor, however, so you won't have enough room for exoskeleton in the modular armor. You have to go up to the power armor to get them. However, that does need portable fusion reactor. Let's just see. And that's going to need gold. I don't think we've done gold yet. But that's the only impediment. Yeah, high-tech science packs. What does it take to make high-tech science? High-tech science. Speed modules, silicon nitride, lithium-ion batteries, and electronic logic boards. So it is probably a good idea for us to at least look at a few of these this episode. Let me just wait for this research to finish, then I can upgrade the batteries, and then we can go and talk about some of these upgrades. Yeah, I went and looked into that process. We're not getting there. That's the short version. The long version is we need a few things first. We need titanium, which is not easy to get hold of. Requires a fair amount of complexity in creating a sort of a build for that, which we'll get to. That's not a problem. But it also requires a whole chain of thermal water extraction. Now, the only thermal water I've found so far is all the way up here. It's like tiny little fissures in the ground. Can't really see them because we don't have a radar nearby. However, so we are going to need to build an outpost up there, I think, to bring that in. I don't think I want a remote outpost where it's processed up there. And yeah, so I'll probably either barrel it up there and bring it in. We may even combine it here with our regular mine train that we have, or maybe even bring it in somewhere else. I think at this point in the game is a good time to start expanding outwards and starting to build set things much further apart from each other. And we've got obviously all of our wonderful belts going, but that's not going to last for much longer other than main supplies, I think. At some point we'll have to get a train network going, and we do have a more advanced version of trains in this mod pack. So, well, not mod pack, but in this set of mods that I'm running, and if you want to know those, you can obviously see them in the first few episodes of the series. And so we're going to have to get started with something else. We could look at titanium. That's one option. I'm just going to check a couple of other things first, see which one we should start with. Oh, and I should mention, to solve the problem with the exoskeletons, we can just brute force it with portable solar panels. So each of these are 10 kilowatts, and the exoskeleton consumes 200. So that just means we have to have 20 of these. We've got 5 already, so we just need 15 more, 12 more, so 1, 2, 1, 2, and that will fill up some of the space. We could, let's just see, that would be 15, that would be, so we wouldn't have enough space to put 2 exoskeletons, and we wouldn't have enough batteries. We'd be short by a fair way. If we built another exoskeleton and put them in here, you walk even faster. So having it is good, but not necessarily something we can upkeep. And if we go to a fusion reactor by some chance, it takes up more space in here that we can reasonably again get exoskeletons. It's quite nicely designed that way, in that just because of the height of this exoskeleton in here, the Mr. Fusion, the portable fusion, takes up 4x4. So 4x4, there's no way to fit in 2 of these exoskeletons. You can't rotate this. Otherwise, you might be able to get it in. As far as I know, no, you can't rotate it. That's unfortunate. But it does mean that for now, we can get going permanently with the exoskeleton just by building the rest of these portable solar panels. So that's a quick thing to get going. And I've upgraded our batteries to Mark IIs. These are 2.5 times the capacity of the Mark Is, so within the same block space. So and they use up 2 of the Mark Is, so you're gaining all around. You're getting more capacity. You're not getting extra resources to get the upgrade. There is battery Mark III, but I don't think we have the tech for it. No, we don't. And that. Oh, we could do the tech for it. But oh no, we couldn't. We could do the tech for it. We just couldn't make it because lithium-ion batteries is other things that require that thermal water extraction. So let me get back on with that, and we should be able to start walking faster pretty soon. So if you remember very early on, we started our sort of chain of production by making these regular belts. They're used with the inserters. They go to make red and green sides. I think they're green. Yeah, they are green. However, we never really completed this. I think that's what we're going to be doing this episode, to kind of create a mall. I think that's the usual phrase for this. Essentially, all the stuff we want to request from the network. Now, the network's up, but we don't want to have to build ourselves. And it's not just for mall's sake, but because to complete out more science, particularly, let's just have a look at the science packs. To get this one, the Logistic Science Pack, we're going to need express transport belts, among other things, filter inserters, steel chests, and flying robot frames. Now, we already have flying robot frames. They're part of our bot production system further south in the map, but the others we don't, and to be honest, they're sort of stuff, well, not the chest, but the other 2 are sort of stuff we should have anyway, I think. We certainly have regular inserters, and it's not terribly hard to extend this system into making the more complex stuff. So let's just get started with that. We can just get started by putting some gears on a belt. It's fair enough. And then on the other side of that, let's see what we can make with the basic assemblies. We're not going to need to make this terribly fast, to be honest. So let's just see if we can get regular assembly machines. Do I have any spare? Ah, looks like I do. There. So if I just pop down a couple for a second, and we can then tell it to make fast transport belt. Yeah, now what about blue? I think blue's going to need a higher tier. Let's go to yellow. Yeah, so we can make blue there. So, and that's 0.5. What are the crafting speed differences here? Crafting speed 0.75, 0.5. So this is going to be much faster. And if we choose blue, it's going to use one of the red belts anyway. So what we may want to do is have a couple of these, or we can upgrade them to obviously yellow. Set these to red, and that will do. And then we can just hook everything else up. There we go. And all we need to do, of course, is supply it with yellow belt. Now we've got plenty of yellow belt here. So if we have a bot nearby, we could do that. Alternatively, we could just feed it into this system somewhere, and that will be seen to be reasonable to actually do. We don't necessarily need anything more complicated here other than a splitter. And I like, when it's prudent to do so, I quite like not using bots. They can sometimes overcomplicate things in terms of, just you're not keeping track of them. They're filling your screen, doing all kinds of other stuff. And it's sometimes easier to see on a belt. So we've got that going. That will produce 2 reds. And then we can then feed this back out onto another line. And let's just do that and that, and they can get going. What did the blue need again? It needed gears again. And it needed fast transport belt. That's fine. And it needs lubricant. So let's go and put a couple here. We may only need 1, but let's just select blue. And let's assume we can get the lubricant from there. The lubricant's going to come down from wherever our electric engine units are being made. Just sort of down there-ish. It's part of our existing factory. And we can't really transport the I suppose we could barrel it, but we don't probably want to do that. We don't want to transport it by a drone, so we'll do it by another method anyway. That's no problem. As for iron gear wheels, however, well, that's not terribly fast. You know what? I think we're just going to upgrade that. It's suitable to upgrade it when you can. And we should also check just to make sure our assembly machines, our electronics ones, they have no ability to make any of this stuff. Because if they do, they're much better to use those machines than our regular size ones. So let's just double check that by, first of all, let's put you in place. So you can make gears much faster. The inserters are keeping up. That's no problem. Although, I guess we could... We've got blue inserters around? Let's make a few. Unless I've already got some. Ah, there we are. There we go. That should actually be much faster for the gears. And we could just put a direct insert here, I guess. Yeah, it's possible. So if I put a, for argument's sake, machine here, to do gears, all we need is another line. Oops. There we go. We'll put those in. There we go. Everything is hooked up, apart from a little bit more power. We'll make those. And we can just configure this to pick up from here. Yeah, I didn't actually place that properly, but the bots got it for me, which is so nice. There we go. So this will directly feed once we got some power. Is it fast enough? Well, this hasn't started up yet, so we can't really tell whether it's fast enough. So all we now need is some lubricant. And then off the end here we can, let's just remove that and have this nice and symmetric. Well, at least ordered. And let's make a few of our passive provider chests. They can go here. And probably, where am I going to output this actually to? I didn't leave space for that, did I? Yeah, you know what? Let's actually just put... Let's just put this onto a traditional belt. And we can just put it right there. And that needs to move a little bit, but otherwise, well, a bit more. Then we can just feed stuff here. That works. Then in you go. You're going to make gears. You're going to go onto this side of the belt. No need to worry about the layout here. There we go. And they'll be picked up just fine, which means that then we can have this exactly where we want it. And just move that, unless that's... Is that already connected? Oh, I have removed the power. Okay, that will do. Put another box in. And we shall put... Oh, actually, no, that has to be a filter inserter, not a regular one. Purple inserters anywhere? There's one. Yeah, and we'll just set this to red belt. There we go. So we've got one box filling, and we'll just leave that with 4 spaces. And the same thing is going to be true with this. Do the same thing for blue. All we now need is lubricant to get it into place. So I'm going to do that off camera. There we go. Our lubricant's in. We're making blue belt, and that's going into another box. So we can request red and blue belt now. And our system will have up to 4 stacks of it at a time for each one of these. So that's one thing done. Now, and then we can just request that whenever we need it for manufacturing elsewhere. Now we also need to look at our inserters. So inserters, the one we want to get to is filter. So filter needs fast and basic electronic boards. Fast needs regular and electronic boards. And iron plate. Okay, so we need iron plate wherever we go. And we have a line here that we can pull in from. That's no problem. But as you might imagine, we don't have basic electronic boards around. So we need to make sure that our system is actually caching those for bots, because we're going to want to grab them by bot. And I think we've probably got a shortage issue. Yeah, that's not building up, which means something else in our system is backed up. Let's go and check it out. And the reason we're getting low on basic electronic boards is because of this. We need stone tablets to make the boards that they're made from. And we don't have any of that because we don't have any stone cooking up. And we don't have any of that because we're just out of stone now with these boxes. So we can get rid of these boxes first of all, which is good. However, we don't have any stone to cook up. However, nicely, we have this warehouse right next door that we can just co-opt to do what we want. So let's actually make this fairly quickly. So that we're not... That's actually perfectly spaced. Yeah, that's accidental, but very, very welcome. Let's put you there. And let's make you make stone. And you go there. And in fact, let's speed that up somewhat. There we go. So that's going to start them making stone bricks. Stone bricks are going to go down into this assembly machine, which is going to convert them into stone tablets. And we're going to start getting basic electronic boards again. And this process is coming from rubite. Yes, I've been saying it rubyite for so long. I got called in it by commenter. Thanks very much for letting me know. It's just because it says ruby. And so I pronounced it ruby. Or I should have pronounced it ruby too. But rubyite sounds pretty good. But rubite, I will try and remember the correct pronunciation. It's a made-up word anyway, so, you know, it's not terribly... Where am I going? I don't want to head this way. We've also got more stone here, so I guess we could hook up the system to go back up there if we wanted to. How much do we have? Okay, we've got quite a bit. So yeah, even if we don't have that crushed stone, we'll certainly have more of it, and there's already more coming down into the manufacturing system here, and that's feeding into this line, which is now starting to produce basic electronic boards. Good. So this basic electronic boards we're going to follow, well, I'm going to do it off camera. I'm going to go back over the other side of the factory, and we'll put in another couple of chests to carry that. So that will then let us start making the inserters. Speaking of inserters... Okay, and while we're about to make our inserters, I did think I'd just check what this is actually going through. So this one is 1.25 crafting speed and drain of 7 kilowatts. This one is 2.25 crafting speed and drain of 7 kilowatts, 7.1, and it's pretty much the same when it's running. So it's faster when it's running when it needs to. Not that we actually... need it to be running at the moment, but having it actually be using this machine really helps. There we go. So that will work well for that. It's only really for things that are electronic in nature. We can't really use it for gears or anything like that, but you know, it looks a little odd, I'll give you that. But in fact, that's in the wrong place, isn't it? Yeah, let's just move you across one. There you go. And you make copper. Okay, so moving back on to the regular stuff. So we're going to want... let's just hit those recipes again. Fast inserters need regular inserters. This needs fast inserters. And only the first one needs iron plate. The rest one, it's just basic electronic boards to both of them. So if we have a factory here, we can just run this stuff right up to it. Insert. And we'll now select it to make inserters, shall we? If I select the right thing. Fast inserters. So it's going to need regular inserters, which are going to be right there. It's going to need basic electronic boards. We'll cover that in a second. And what we could also do there is make 2 lots of this, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. It should all catch up eventually. And we will consume some of them to put them in a box. And let's... this isn't going to... I can't overlap all of them. Slightly annoying, but it works. Fine. So then we're going to want the 3rd assembly machine here. And you can... Well, I may not want it that close. Let's just actually select this recipe. Yeah, we can do direct insertion. And then we're going to need a box that will go into both of them. So if we put a requester box right there, we can then configure this to ask for basic electronic boards. And yeah, a couple of hundred will do. Then we can just say from here and here, I want to choose you. I want to pick up from there. And do the same thing from this, pick up from there. I need some power poles. And is that all the ingredients? We've pretty much got everything we need. This will have everything it needs. There it goes. In come the bots. And everything starts up. Similarly, we'll have another box here. And have this be powered and output that. So we will have stacks of our inserters. All available. Regular, fast, filter. We could do long-handed, but with Bob's long-handed, you can just do with regular inserters. I don't think there's much of an advantage. In fact, this uses less power. Maybe if you configure it to have longer range, it uses more power. Not sure. The only one we may want at some point is stack inserters. But because we can already set up bonuses via research, we don't need the stack inserters unless we want really fast throughput. So that's going to be something for another day, maybe. However, what's the recipe for them? To be honest, we could make them. All we'd need to do is probably just move this around a bit. We probably need to put this over on this side. That's one possibility that would work quite well. And then we could have the other factory here, because we need access to iron for that other stack inserter. But otherwise, we've got the start of a mall going. All right, so we're approaching the half-hour mark, and that's a good point for me to start asking you if you want to see anything else in the mall. Is there anything I've particularly forgotten that you think I really should have? There's plenty of stuff we can add. In particular, assembly machines themselves. It's often handy to have those being made automatically. So we can go back a fair bit. We've got access to iron up there. The assembly machines, let's have a look at those recipes. Iron, electric motors are not terrible. Burner assembly machines, that just needs stone and iron. So we're going to need stone being fed in, basic electronic boards. We can just get those from bots. No harm otherwise. Concrete, if we want to go up to the 3rd tier. Yeah, and steel. So that's more complicated. But the first 2 we can certainly do. I won't do them on camera though, because you've seen the general concept of what I've been doing. It's really basic assembly stuff, but it's really handy that I can just go into my inventory now and say, I didn't really want 200 transport belt. I actually wanted fast transport belt, or indeed express. So further down, I guess we can then start using that express transport belt. Let's just see what we can make with it. Express transport belt. Okay, so here's our recipe for logistic science packs. We've already made this. We've already made this. We have this. So we just need steel chests. And I guess we can make those. Yeah, so there shouldn't be any reason why I can't just go and build this. What else can we make with that, though? Mark II labs. Nice. And we have everything else we need for those labs, so we can upgrade those. We just need the research for that. And the turbo transport belt, I've not played up to the point where the turbo transport belt comes in use. That's going to need some logistics 4, and it needs titanium. That's I don't think we're going to need that for a little while. So in the meantime, why don't we finish off just by completing the logistics science packs, and that means we just need to build steel chests and have them available somewhere. So right here we've got this box here. This is where our basic electronic boards are being cached. As they come through, they have a chance to hit all the factories first, and if the factories don't want them, they will be put into this box, which is where they get taken over by the bots. So at the same time, we can then just instead do a very, very similar thing here and just make an assembly machine. We've got steel. It's had a chance to get past all of the other stuff. I assume that's steel. Steel, good. So if we're already doing that, then we can just build some steel chests and put it here. Chest. Chest. Steel chest. There we go. And we can get it to do that and put another box down. Well, let's just move that there just so we can see it. And we're not going to have it make many of those things. However, now what we can do is do the same thing. We can build some more assembly machines, hopefully, and then we can have them all brought here. So to make the pink science packs, they're in here somewhere. Science. We're going to need 4 ingredients. We can probably just request them all to one chest. Well, we may need multiple assembly machines. That might still work. We can certainly do it with a pair, maybe even do it with 3. Let's give that a go, actually. I want to see whether that will match this if we just request it all from a chest. So we're going to need a chest first. A couple of those. And then let's get to building this. Very straightforward. So if we put, let's say we want, let's use that as the first point. And then we want to put in our chest. Let's put it there for argument's sake. And then we can put in our other buildings. Put it there and put it there. Seems reasonable. Then we can just select science. Now, someone did say you could just copy from this, shift right click, and paste on this, and it will ask for all the stuff. Okay, it doesn't ask for enough of the stuff, I'll give you that, but it will ask for the stuff. So let's just make sure. Oh, that's such a time saver. I thank you to whoever commented on that. I can't remember what your name was. I'm sorry. It was actually a couple of weeks ago that you commented, but oh my. So they can't actually fulfill the flying robot frames, maybe, because we're not caching them somewhere. Let me just make sure. They're made right here, but they're all being used up by this process, I think, and they're quite slow. So what I wonder is, do we have enough bots for now? Or we could just actually build another one of these. Oh, I've just used up that space. So that's somewhat annoying. That is actually somewhat annoying. I'm going to have to move things out by 1. What I want it to do is make this robot frame. And that will actually be fine if it doesn't get nicked by this. So let's shut you down for a second. Grab both of you. Move you over by 1 and grab an assembly machine. There we go. And then we'll just rearrange this in exactly the same way as before, except we'll just put a couple of things there. And we'll restrict this. But otherwise it will get a chance, I think. It's going to need... it's going to need a... Yeah, it's going to need 2 things there. So let's just put another one in. And then we'll grab that. And it will grab batteries. This one will grab everything else, assuming electric engines make it all the way to the end of the line. They may not do, but we can always restructure it if we need to do that. Then we just put this one back to make steel from. And on the other side, we can just put our box back in and put a filter inserter right there. Whoops. Tell it to make... there we go. And that can be, again, inhibited to a couple of stacks. This one is back onto chests. Still chest. And I think we're done. Let's just configure these. Yep, they're all configured. So, as and when electric engines make it to this, and if it makes it to this, we will begin to start making science once this has now been configured. So we can just make sure everything is powered there. And that is going to be just fine. We can then just output something like this. There we go. That should all now work, I think. We just need to put an extra thing there. And everything is configured. The only thing we need to do is feed stuff into these now from this one box. So I'm going to need to move a couple of things around. Let's just put that as away. And we'll need to have inserters. So one here. That's annoying. I guess... let's just, we may have to rearrange this, but pick up from there. And then can we configure this now? I think we're far enough out here that we can say you can pick up diagonally. Yep. That's pretty good. So they can pick up diagonally. They can all grab everything they need, aside from the flying robot frames, which we don't have yet. And then they will all output onto this belt and into the rest of our labs once we're done. So we've got the pink science pack, whatever it's called, logistic science pack done. So we've got the first 6 done. The 7th is the really hard one. We're going to have to get a lot of processes up to get that 7th one, and that unlocks a lot more of course, our personal upgrades. And just to briefly cover at the end, just the difference in speed. So here it is with the exoskeleton. Let's go and move on to a faster area. So this is the fastest area. It's like stone instead of a sand area. Okay, and without them. Yeah, noticeable difference, at least noticeable for me. So I'm quite happy. I do want 2 of those exoskeletons though, if not 3. So we will have to work hard on getting the rest of that done. However, with this episode, we've got a new science pack. We've got them all created. And it looks pretty good. So, if you liked it, feel free to like, subscribe, share, etc. as normal. And we'll see you next time for more of this kind of stuff. Feel free to leave comments below if you see anything wrong. Yeah, thanks for watching.